Coming up, MTV Movies is joined by the stars of House of the Dragon.
Just a lot of feeling.
A lot of feeling, yeah. That's a lot of feeling.
Whacked him 7 minutes and he went, Fabian.
If you got the throne, then I'd have a bit of power.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit annoying.
The nights about these different kingdoms in this seat of the throne, I just went, no.
There's dragons, there's sex, there's a lot of violence.
There'll be lots of replies, lots of opinions.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to MTV Movies with me, Hannah Flint. And back with us, the return of the king. No, not Viserys the First. Even better, our very own king, Tyler West.
Hey, you was hoping for Viserys the First though, wasn't it?
I wasn't. I only want you.
God, I love you, Anne. All right, look, in this special, we're talking all things House of the Dragon, episode 1. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go do so and then bring your fine self back here straight away.
So, to start, here's what happened when Ty hung out with the House of the Dragon cast.
Is it right that you turned down the role for Game of Thrones initially?
No, it wasn't a specific role, but we'll
Right.
get this right, because
Okay.
this is how rumours start. But I did get sent the script years ago for the first episode, and I'm going to put my hand in the air and say I couldn't really make head nor tail of it. And my agent at the time would go, no, it's about these different kingdoms in this seat of the throne. I just went, no, whatever. But hey, you know,
Now you're trapped with
what's
it.
for
And
you?
now you're obsessed with it, right?
Yeah, what's for you won't pass you by, mate. So we come to years later and I'm the king, so that was meant to be.
What was it like the first day filming on set for both of you?
Terrified.
Really, why?
So scary. What do you mean, why?
I mean, no, because
it's
I'm
Game
thinking,
of Thrones. Like, what do you mean?
I thought the excitement might take over.
No, you're so nervous.
You want to be excited, but the thing
Apparently, you
is,
fell asleep a lot.
Not me. Who said that? Fabian. No, okay. The thing is,
So nervous you fell asleep, right?
I've had the dry robes, and I'm Australian, so I'm not used to the cold. I'm not used to the cold. I'm
Yeah,
Australian.
obviously, long flights.
Long flights,
tsunami,
fancy coats,
I would
like
like,
different.
I sit like this, literally like this, because the dresses were uncomfortable, and I've got a bad back, so it's like really comfortable. Now
Right.
zip my dry
Yeah.
robe up.
like this big, you want to imagine
just-
fur like
Yeah.
around her
So you
face.
just see this, and it would just
I've
be
heard
me
4 excuses
like that.
so far.
I think day one nerves is the adrenaline, and you know
Yeah.
adrenaline is the same feeling as excitement and nervousness. You can't figure out where it's coming from. There's just a lot of feeling. There's just a lot of
feeling.
that.
A lot of feeling, yeah. That's a lot of feeling.
And in this world, literally anything can get you killed, right? How do your characters sort of navigate this and just make sure that they stay on the right path?
There were scenes, certainly in the small council, I remember, where I would have to go up to either Ryan or Miguel and be like, well, you know I'm not pleased about this, so would I say it like this? And Ryan would go, no, because if you said it like that, they'd kill you. So you can't say that. You can't show that kind of disrespect to the king. So I'm like, okay, fine. So that was interesting, so it gives you an idea of the pressure that these characters are under, because even a stray look.
Literally anything, any toe out of line. So having to always toe the party line, and everything's happy. I've got my happy face on, and everything's great, because otherwise.
Yeah.
It was great catching up with the cast there. More to come from them really soon. Right, so House of the Dragon finds us around 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones, where we witness the beginning of the end of the dynasty. Now, we have seen the first episode. There's dragons, there's sex, there's a lot of violence. So far, so good for the Game of Thrones prequel, right? Yeah?
It all.
It's got, okay, I see what you did there. That was so bad. Can you give us a breakdown of the world that we've landed in, please, Hannah, and never say that again?
I will. I've got it all here for you. Okay. Okay, so Viserys, he's nabbed the throne over his sister. A few years later, his wife is pregnant. They're hoping for a son so that he can be the heir, despite the fact that they have a daughter who could be ruler. Unfortunately, his wife dies in childbirth with the son, but then he kind of gets over it and decides that he's going to make his daughter heir apparent. But unfortunately, there's loads of other people vying for that throne.
I mean, first step's done. Did it meet your expectations?
I had pretty much no expectations.
Okay.
I was one of the people who wasn't kind of happy with season 8 of Game of Thrones, but I quite enjoy the new people that they introduced. I like that the relationships they set up. I like the fact that it looks good, and yeah, I just feel like we're going to be taking on a pretty bloody ride. Bloody,
literally.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's very, very gory. The violence isn't short in this first step at all. It went from 0 to 100 real quick. A man's bum cheek got cut off. I don't know if it was that man's bum cheek or if it was his bits or like, I don't know what it was. Just a little bit of flesh drops off and I'm like, that's in the first episode. How are you going to top it?
I really like the fact that in this series we got some diversity. Because Game of Thrones is kind of iffy. You had like...
I mean, travel back in time and redeem yourselves. That's what they're going
exactly.
for.
Also, it's a fantasy series. anyone can play anything.
Yeah.
And they got Steve Toussaint, who I loved in Red, White and Blue, the
Wicked.
Steve McQueen film, and he plays Corlys Velaryon, who's actually like the richest guy in the kingdom.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And I love his locks.
Right, well, here's some more of me and the wonderful House of the Dragon cast.
You know, in the when there was the purge at King's Landing, was it a bum cheek or genitals that got cut off?
It was the Hampton,
Oh, I
wasn't it?
think it was the Hampton, mate. I think it was the old
The old Hampton.
John Thomas.
Funny when that happened.
Oh, no.
I couldn't make it out.
It's funny, you go, ooh,
Yeah. Throughout the filming process, who was like the biggest joker on set? Who kept the spirits going alive?
I'm going to say Reese Ifans now. I
Okay.
will bet you that every other member of the entire cast will say Reese Ifans.
Really?
Mate, the naughtiest.
Is it? Why? What sort of stories with it?
Like everything. Anything he can do to create mayhem on set. Like, you're close. I remember once, right, we were in a scene and he, like, that camera was close on his face. He took my hand, which was off camera, whacked himself in the face, and he went, Fabian, unbelievable. Like in the middle of this take, like that kind of thing, like consistently. Or like I was in this armor and I couldn't stand, and there was a dragon like attacking in this scene, and we had to all be scared, and Reece just like barged me. I like landed on the ground in a heap, and then Reece would be like, Fabian, you're on the floor again. Guys, I'm so sorry. What to say? So yeah, him.
See, from episode 1, your character seems calm, composed, and poised. How long is it before he makes a bid for the throne?
The motivation of this character is to get not himself to the throne, but either his wife, who he feels is way better qualified to be a monarch than the incumbent, or if that doesn't happen, to get his family close via any means possible. So the strictest answer to your question is literally within an episode. He's making moves and sort of going, well then let's try this, let's do
Making
this.
little plans.
But there was got to be a part of him that's kind of like, you know, if you got the throne, then I'd have a bit of power.
Yeah, and I think that's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
I agree. And now the Iron Throne is something to behold. I mean, aside from it being a health and safety hazard completely, how possessive did you get over it?
I was very possessive.
It's mine.
Actually, when I saw stills of him sitting on it, I'm like,
Really, were you?
So interested.
I'm like, no one's allowed to sit on that.
Yeah.
No, that was my
It's your
throne.
favourite armchair, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a comfortable seat.
Yeah,
but-
it's not as comfy as it looks.
Yeah.
But it was the moment of when I walked on the set for the first time and looked at it. It was like, oh wow,
Yeah.
there's the Iron Throne. It was a special thing.
There's the big dog.
Yeah.
More to come from the cast shortly. So, an absolutely star-studded lineup. Who stood out for you?
Millie Alcock, I really think she is bossing it. The thing I love about it is that she wasn't like some worldwide known superstar, like millions of followers or anything like that, but she's come onto the scene and she is owning the role. She's like 22. And she is, honestly, she's giving me, like her character's giving me like rebellious vibes. It's giving me a bit like Daenerys, like just a bit rebellious, knows what she wants, don't really care, not gonna follow the rules. That seems like a good leader. It's only episode 1.
I really like Paddy Considine as Viserys. One thing I kind of like as well is like he's a northerner.
Yeah.
And I like that he hasn't done the classic like, well, they're royalty, so they must all have posh voices. He's like retained his voice, and that's like I love his little lilt.
And he's not moody, really.
No, he seems like a decent guy. It's like,
He's obviously trying to hand over responsibility to his daughter. I feel like the responsibility going on to Rhaenyra at the moment, the secret of winter, the dragons, heir to the throne, protector of the realm. My mum didn't even trust me like with the boiling potatoes in the kitchen, let alone, you know, protector of the realm.
And then we obviously have to talk about Matt Smith as Daemon.
He's lost the plot.
He instigates an unsanctioned kind of bloody culling in King's Landing. Then we see him taking part in a jousting tournament and he gets even more violent.
Took a couple hits to the chest.
Oh my God, with the faces, like nothing left to be seen.
It's giving me, it's like Joffrey.
But
Dare I even say that name on
Joffrey
this
was
set?
just like so annoying though. Like Daemon's got like charisma.
Yeah.
It's like you hate him, but you won't mind throwing down with him.
Yeah, he's just on it for evil. He's just on it for war. He just woke up, chose violence, and thought, you know what, I'm gonna run with it. But I feel like he's just itching to go crazy with power. This is why I'm excited to see where it's gonna lead us, because in the first episode, he's just like, oh, let's just go into the town and let's cause up a ruckus.
He's joking around now, he's gonna be heir and stuff, he's the rightful heir, and I think as the series progresses, we're gonna see him actually really take that seriously.
Speaking of the tremendous cast, here's some more of me catching up with them.
Who gets to use the coolest weapons throughout the series? What's like a personal favourite?
I've got like a Morning Star, which is like a ball with spikes on it, on a chain, and it's massive and it's white. And I've got a sword that is made of stingray. Like the actual sword, the hilt of the sword is made of actual stingray that they got made. I've got a dagger. I got some great weapons, man.
That birth scene, right? That birth scene. Tell me about shooting that, because that was like the Game of Thrones gore that we was all waiting for. Was it crazy?
It was a tough scene because Sean was doing all the physical work. It was a massively long day and it was a very emotional scene. It was more emotional than what's finally caught. There was a lot of tears and it was very visceral at times. But she had all the hard work to do to act like that, and it sounds like nothing, but you've got all these tubes pumping the blood. It becomes very, very technical. All that stuff is so technical. Yeah. So I think Sean was the real star of that day, you know, having to deal with and put up with all of that. You know.
The costumes, the wigs, they're absolutely epic. Talk to us about those transformations. What was it like going fully into the role? It didn't feel it for you, did it? Did you not feel it?
Not feeling it.
For,
no, I don't want to.
No. For me, it was fine. It was great because with a wig, when you start off with this as your base, it's so easy.
You just rocked up.
You
just rocked up with 5 minutes to go and a coffee and
and I'd be like, why are you
days.
bitching about the wigs? It's so
We've
simple,
been
so
up
easy.
since 4. I had to come in originally the day before to have my hair all plaited and then come back the next day because it was taking so long.
And then when we'd finish, I'd be just like, it's 5 minutes and you're out and you're on your way home.
And then ripping off bits of plastic.
It was you. Paddy was another one, was just like, it just takes forever, this bloody hell.
Just make it end.
And Viserys for a King feels like relatively delicate in comparison to some of the more brutal tyrant leaders.
Yeah.
Was that the decision behind this? Like, was it to make it a bit more of a balanced character?
I just wanted to make him more humane, really.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play him as someone who he's not a person driven by power. He's more of a scholar, really, and he's not sort of he doesn't abuse his privilege or anything like that. I just wanted to make him as human as I possibly could. And I thought that he was a rarity. When I read him as a character, I thought he was quite a rarity in this world. It doesn't make him boring because he goes on quite a journey himself. But I just thought that was refreshing that he wasn't someone. And I'd been offered somebody that wasn't there, you know, abusing their power or being dark in any way. But I had to bring out the Targaryen in him too.
Yeah.
That was an important thing to go. There is a dragon in here, so
exactly.
I had to make sure that went in.
Okay, so of course there's such a true fandom around Game of Thrones and such controversy over like the final series, but what do you think that they've got right so far in House of the Dragon?
Yeah, I think the Game of Thrones was quite exploitative towards women, and don't get me wrong, there's some horrible things that happened to women in that first episode, and that was hard to watch, but I do think by having Rhaenyra as kind of the heir apparent. I think what we're going to see also with her best friend Alicent, played by Emily Carey. You know, we saw in that scene after Viserys' wife died, his hand, played by Rhys Ifans, Otto Hightower, he says, oh, go on then, just go say hello to, check in on him so he's all right.
There's something happening.
Yeah, I think it's going to be weird. It's going to be like a relationship Reddit thread where it's like, help, my dad is dating my friend and I feel really weird about it, and now my my brother is also like my cousin. Like, do you know what I mean?
Sounds like a great headline, that.
There'll be lots of replies, lots of opinions.
Yeah. Do we think that the series will go a certain way of righting the wrongs of the Game of Thrones series?
I just don't think you can right those wrongs because they are what it is and because it's set before. I think what it's going to do is maybe give better storylines to the female characters.
For it to make sense.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people were kind of annoyed of how exploitative it was of the female characters, how much it kept people of colour to the sidelines and made them kind of like they're either slaves or kind of baddies. I think by making sure that they have that representation and good writers in the room, like women writers, women directors and stuff, I think we're going to kind of hopefully, I mean, I can't speak to the series, I haven't seen it yet, but you kind of hope that they're like, ooh, yeah, maybe we'll do better.
We're going to run with this now. And that is all from us here at MTV Movies. Thank you so much for watching. Please share your thoughts, click subscribe, and we'll see you back here again very, very soon.
Right, do you fancy a lift?
Yeah, all right, if it's going.
Cyrax!
Do you know what? I think I'm going to get the bus. Han, I'm going to get bus that way. You, Cyrax.
Okay.
Crack on.